series is meant to be educational, communicating one person's growth over a certain set of experiences, and the insights gained from those experiences. I am not special. Okay. My name is Justin Weinstein. Some background info. I grew up in California until I was about age 9, and I spent the latter half of my development in South Carolina, both Marine states. And I've decided recently, at 20 years of age, to join the Marine Corps.
'Cause I'm not alone, I'm a link in a legacy.
Since about 11 years old, I've been practicing filmmaking.
Yes, it's true. I got interrupted by a squirrel.
It began with me making sketches in my front yard, and that developed into a part-time job as a cameraman working for a TV studio. And I figured that I might as well put this filmmaking muscle to use and document my experience. I believe this has the potential to be a very interesting series. When I think about my motivation for joining the military, it is deeply personal. To give you a picture, around the time I moved out, working and going to college and interacting with various people, I would just wake up at night dissatisfied with who I was becoming. Part of it was because I knew that I wasn't really formidable. And so it began to occur to me that one of the best things that I could do was to become a warrior.
It's time to be the power, time to be the change. I'ma light the torch, I'ma carry the flame. And we can be the spark of a trail blazing. Let's go. It starts right here, it starts right now. It starts with me from the inside out. 'Cause we can be the spark of a trail blazing. We can be the spark of a trail blazing.
This is around the time that I discovered some inspirations in my life, like David Goggins,
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
Let's hear it, buddy.
Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
and Jocko Willink, who probably need no introduction. Very inspirational figures with a military background. And in addition to that, my family has a long-standing tradition of going into the military, and recently of going into the Marine Corps. So in the aim of bettering myself, in the aim of becoming someone more disciplined, more confident, and a better leader, I decided to join the toughest branch of the military. And as it stands, I go to OCS in 2 weeks. OCS stands for Officer Candidate School. It's the officer equivalent of boot camp. What I am expecting is a struggle. I know that I'm going to come out of this better than I went in, and humbled, probably. I'm excited more than anything at this point to begin this journey. I remember the first time I ever looked at a workout designed specifically to prepare people for special ops, and halfway through the workout I wanted to throw up, and I remember thinking, maybe I'm not meant for the military. But that little moment is so representative of what self-improvement is like. In the beginner stages, you're always going to encounter difficulties and barriers that make you think maybe you never even belonged. But as you keep pushing, as you keep doing it more and more, you start to adapt. I had to try to improve myself in a number of ways. The La Jolla Half Marathon, first time running 13 miles in my life, and a scenic view to top it all off. During this time, I was also going to school. Lots of schoolwork, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but looking back, I remember that experience very fondly. Ultimately, I think it did contribute to my development a lot. Anything that you can do to improve yourself along any dimension does have an impact on your leadership ability. You increase your knowledge level, that feeds into your leadership ability. You sharpen your ability to work with people, that increases your leadership ability. You make yourself more physically tough, that increases your leadership ability. I can go into each one of those specifically, but the general takeaway is that no self-improvement is insignificant. It all counts for something. And then OCS, one of the biggest learning experiences of my life, an event that impacted me in profound ways that I still feel to this day. My first experience working under that kind of a high stress environment. Very crucial experience as far as teaching me to think on my feet, think critically, adapt to changing situations. Nothing but good lessons taken from my time at OCS. Was very much humbled, learned a lot about what areas I'm lacking in when it comes to leadership, what areas I'm lacking in when it comes to physical fitness, and some general tweaks to my personality that were necessary in order for me to adapt to this kind of lifestyle. And immediately following OCS, I picked back up with training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I had trained a little bit prior. The BJJ tournament that I participated in, that was a really fun one. The entire process from start of my training to the build up to actually competing and then assessing my performance and coming away with lessons learned. I didn't end up winning, but I still learned a lot, and it's something that I can't wait to do again. Once again, a very humbling experience of dedicating a period of my life to something, training for it, finally competing, failing, coming up short, but being able to take away a lot of valuable lessons. Again, you see how all of these skills start to compound and how all of these can contribute to this larger goal of self-improvement, becoming a better leader. Like working at Chipotle, something you could easily gloss over. That's something that I still remember very fondly, as that was a pretty significant portion of my college experience. Just learning how to conduct very menial labor day to day while also maintaining a positive attitude. Learning how to be someone that's pleasant to interact with for those working around you. And just being present. You can't live life and fast forward is something I'm learning more and more. If it's like telling a joke, having a smile on your face when everybody else is kind of just waiting for the workday to be over. None of that stuff is insignificant. All that stuff carries over into, that is a leadership skill. The ability to lift people's spirits. You have to appreciate every little thing that you're doing because it all contributes to your story if you look for it. And then at the end of it all, summer of 2023, I commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. The commission meant a lot to me. The fact that my family and friends came out around the same time I graduated UC Berkeley, it was the symbolic and also the literal culmination of 2 years of preparation. It just really did feel surreal. Like I was finally going to be a part of this thing. Like this thing was about to get rolling.
Believe me, they'll tell you failure is not an option. That is ridiculous. Failure is the most readily available option, but it's a choice.
No more telling people I'm going to be in the Marines. No more telling people I'm training for the Marines. No more telling people I'm kind of in the Marines, but like not really because I'm still living in the civilian world.
Be inspired. Use your brains. Think for yourselves. Be leaders, not followers. Inspire others yourself. Know who you are. And don't let that be changed, even by success in your life. Strive to be the best in the world. Be gracious, whether you win or lose. Be mentors, be teachers. Someday, you may find you have no energy left to keep on giving. You can be thankful that you used everything you were given for this life. As you depart today, realize that time only moves in one direction.
Please rise, and I grant you the degrees. Congratulations, graduates!
That symbolized the end of a crucial period in my life. That was the genesis.
One area where I severely need improvement is my accuracy in shooting. So if I can take a day to come out here and practice that, that's a day well spent. And even luckier that it gets to take place on a beautiful mountain like this.
Following the commissioning, I spent a couple of months in Corona, California with my dad, and that was a very nice time. very nice period of respite for a couple of months where I was able to just kind of gather my thoughts, prepare mentally for TBS, pretty much just get my stuff in order, work out, get ready mentally, listen to podcasts, hang out with my dad, my brother, my girlfriend. Really, when I think back on that period, it just kind of stands out to me as a moment of respite, as I mentioned, and a moment of preparation, both physically and mentally, for what I knew was going to be one of the more significant challenges of my life. And then August 7th, 2023, it finally came time for me to go to the big scary place, the 7-month-long elephant in the room that had been looming. So I took a flight to Quantico, Virginia. The Basic School, or TBS, is a 7-month-long school in which newly commissioned Marine officers learn the basics of being a provisional infantry rifle platoon commander. And so this school is dedicated to teaching newly commissioned officers infantry skills for 7 months before they receive their MOS and go off to their specific schools. This is frustrating. How do you even begin to summarize 7 months of learning something new every day? I guess we just got to start at the beginning. I arrived at TBS on August 7th. Very nervous, very unsure of what to expect. I remember just being very petrified talking to some of the instructors there at first because I was waiting for them to snap at me. But I soon learned that it was an environment that was fairly different. Within a short time of arriving, we received our first brief as to what our curriculum at TBS would look like, as well as some of the key events that we had to look forward to. Lots of things that I knew on their face were going to be very challenging, like a 15-mile hike, like a 10-day field op. Stuff that, frankly, at the beginning of the POI, it was hard for me to see how I would be capable of those things. Shortly after arriving, I received one of the most crucial pieces of information from my staff platoon commander that I remember to this day, which is that you're going to get burnt out if you try to put up a front. In the military and in life, generally, you're a better first-hand you than you are second-hand someone else. So somebody else might be very successful with a certain leadership style. Do not emulate that. That's a fool's errand. You're only going to end up being a cheap knockoff that is not as effective. And I really started to learn that there's trade-offs too. So while some people might be very good at addressing a large group, taking control of a chaotic social situation, some people might be way better at one-on-one interaction. And those have different uses. What you owe it to yourself and your Marines to do is to figure out a way to work with the personality that you have and use that as a tool in the most effective way that you can. And I've kind of set that as my goal for my time here. Week 2's coming up. After that, we get into the real training.
Check-ins. Stand by.
All right, ready? Take a knee. All violence. One of you's not going home. Ready?
Fight. Fight. Nope, against here. 1. Right. Guys.
One of the biggest cases in which I had to put my own comfort aside was learning to operate at night. Wearing these cumbersome NVDs, trying to accomplish a mission at a time of day when your body naturally begins to crave sleep. The people who succeeded most were the people who could really cease to care about the fact that their body would rather be sleeping right now. The people who could cease to care about the fact that the night vision device was a little bit uncomfortable. The people who really thrived were the people that were able to be 100% present and embrace, and then as a consequence, be passionate about the situation that they are in. Philippians says, "Do all things without grumbling and disputing, in order that you may become blameless and innocent." It was the complaining that was really the slow death that not only makes others not like being around you as much, but really signifies that you're not ready for this kind of environment. Yeah, most of what we do here sucks, but that's the whole point. And though you feel the temptation to complain at times, you can never forget that this fire is what forges warriors. And a positive attitude, positive regard for the situation ripples outward. And the fact of the matter is, people want to be around optimistic people more than pessimistic people, even if they themselves are pessimistic. I'm not gonna lie, I was never perfect. I would complain, but I treat it as a learning experience, right? But in my mind, the measure of your success as a leader, your measure of success as far as your character, can be measured by how little you complain in a situation like that. If you frame your experiences in a way that renders them pointless, and that's the attitude that you're going to carry with you. But if you say, no matter what I'm doing, whether it's a grueling hike or whether it's a training exercise that's physically demanding but doesn't have to do with the job that you're going to be performing after the basic school, it doesn't matter. If it's hard and you frame it as a learning experience, something that you're only going to have the opportunity to do once, something that's going to reinforce your ability to make yourself do things that you don't want to do, we call that discipline, then nothing here is pointless. Nothing. So this POI has just been moving at a lightning fast pace. At this point, a lot of events have transpired in the POI, and I've had successes and failures, and you've got all these different histories, all these different experiences, all these different personalities, all here under one umbrella. At this point in the POI, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready. There's something so special about just being surrounded by warriors in a place facilitated to make and train warriors. I know it's becoming a recurring theme at this point in my series. You could almost say it's like a broken record. Mentality is everything. Though I am by no means the smartest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the most natural leader, I can want to be here when nobody else wants to be here. And that is so much more powerful than anything else. The point of this series is not to imply by any stretch that I was a top performer at any school that I went to, or that I am a standout leader. The point is just to illustrate that I feel like I've taken a lot of valuable insights away from these experiences, and then to share those with you. So let's talk about the operations order. The op order, or the 5-paragraph order, is a military planning format. I'm working on my order right now that I'm going to be delivering on day 1 of the effects. I'm going to be running a squad attack. It is the academic side to every physical event at TBS. It is the written planning format that the Marine Corps utilizes for everything. It goes:
orientation, situation, mission, execution, admin and logistics, command and signal.
One of the purposes of TBS is to program you to think in the format of an operations order, and you write many of them. What I really learned about the op order is detailed considerations. It is really learning foresight. You're learning how to plan with the knowledge that once you actually begin executing, your plan will probably change and the original will become invalid. The process of having you plan is a way of getting you to visualize, getting you to anticipate, and to critically think, how are we going to execute this plan? What tasks does each individual supporting unit within the larger unit have to accomplish in order to achieve the mission? What are the logistical considerations? What do we need in order to execute this? Who's going to do what? How are we going to communicate? And it can really be applied to anything in life. Going to the grocery store. Orientation. We are currently located in a hotel room. There is a grocery store 50 meters away, northwest. The weather is cloudy. There is a 50% chance of rain. The terrain is flat. It is a road from here to the grocery store. Mission, no later than 3 p.m. today. Buy eggs, milk, and cheese from the grocery store in order to have the ingredients for breakfast tomorrow. Execution, no later than 3 p.m. I'm gonna run to the store, admin and logistics. What assets do we have available to us? We have a car. The car has this much gas, so we're able to go for this many miles. Command and signal, how am I gonna phone my wife in order to tell her if the grocery store is out of a certain thing and what brand she would prefer? It's a very funny scenario to apply that logic to, but it really illustrates how versatile and applicable this form of thinking is to daily life. Sometimes you just gotta show up. This is something that I was thinking this weekend. We're approaching the halfway point of the POI. And I can't believe it's been that long. But one thing that occurs to me every weekend when I gather up the courage to come back here, because it does require courage. I mean, call it soft, call it whatever you want. I'm just being dead honest that at the end of every weekend, a big part of me doesn't want to come back because it knows that it's going to be challenged and it knows that it's going to go through suffering. But if you can muster up the courage to come back and show up despite that, whether it's a race, whether it's a school, anything in life, you can never let your mind trick you, because I guarantee you that you're capable of more than you think. Anytime I've ever done a long run, there's a point fairly early on where I'll feel like I can't do it. It's happened so many times. Before you know it, you will have passed mile 2 and mile 3. And then you run a half marathon, and then you run a marathon. And this is something that applies to everything in life, everything challenging. You are capable of more than you think. Even if you're starting to feel resistance at mile 1 of the marathon, doesn't matter, because we're going to keep pushing. Freaking cold out. Ran all the way to the PFT sign, and there was a time in my life, probably pretty recently, that I would have turned around before I even reached it. But I said, oh, I'm there, it's time to turn around. But today I said, we're gonna touch that sign because we're done taking shortcuts. Those days are over. This, for the record, is why Marines are successful even when they go into fields that they were not technically trained for at their primary schools, where Marines are taught infantry skills, whether that be engineering or finance. Despite not having any technical preparation for those jobs at those primary schools, the Marines are taught work ethic.
That's what sets the Marine Corps apart, because when the times get tough, the Marines get tougher.
It is 3:45 a.m. on the day of heading out to the airport soon. Nerves are hitting now, but I'm still ready. Oh man, this is that. I guess I'll touch base with you guys in 6 weeks. The feeling of sitting at this duty desk alone, early in the morning, knowing I'm somewhere challenging myself every day, is better than the feeling of any vacation, any kind of food, any scenery. There's purpose here. There's calling. To think back to where I was just a few years ago, waking up early in Santa Monica to try and prepare myself for a life in the military, knowing I wanted more out of myself, is surreal at times. I didn't know what the military would be like, but I knew it was, and always would be, an avenue of challenge and self-betterment. I have learned, and am learning so much, and this is just the beginning of the journey. No matter what happens, I will take these experiences with me forever. Infantry skills, though necessary for protecting our country and defeating the enemy, are a metaphor, a vehicle for larger life lessons. When I say that I would rather be there standing duty at a military school than eating good food or taking a vacation somewhere, what I'm really getting at is that those things are distractions. Whereas in an environment like this, you're really discovering meaningful truths about yourself. Back when I sat down in June of 2021 and talked to you about the ways that I wanted to improve myself, I can safely say that I have seen improvement in every aspect that I described, and I continue to face challenges every day that better me. Every day holds up a mirror to you and shows you what you're made of, what your philosophy is like, and as that facade slowly wills away through your interactions with other people, through your being put through physically and mentally challenging situations, it becomes harder and harder to ignore who you really are. The hikes at TPS were such a great metaphor because the hikes are long and you have so much time to reflect and contemplate on what you're doing while you're on the hikes. Specifically, as the hikes become longer and longer, they range from 3 miles to 6 miles to 9 to 15. I did not like hiking, but I learned to love what it acted as a vehicle for. We had our next Vex hike, the 6 miler, and it was brutal. But this is everything. If you can win that internal battle, even when your thoughts are not on your side, even when your thoughts are telling you, I can't do this. Because you're going 15 miles at a fast walk. That means that for a couple of hours, you will be doing nothing but walking with heavy weight on your back. Probably getting blisters on your feet, having to muster more and more of yourself in order to get through the last couple of miles. And in the absence of music, anyone saying anything motivational to you, that is where you start to see the importance of self-mastery. That is where you really start to see the importance of denying yourself your comforts. And that's where it really becomes life or death if you want to complete this event. You have to learn to say no and to push against your boundaries. I think the most successful hike I had at TPS was the 12 miler. I remember the night before that hike, I was just going for a walk and then I said to myself, something that took me a long time to realize, years of listening to motivational speakers before doing something hard, is that none of them can help me. By all means, learn from other people, but all this listening to David Goggins before a hike, he can't help me. I'm the only one tomorrow that can put one foot in front of the other until the finish line. Yes, there are so many people that inspired me throughout this journey, but in the same vein of my captain's advice as far as it being yourself, you also have to learn how your mind works and how to succeed in the face of challenges. Because there really is no one-size-fits-all solution to challenge. You have to learn how your mind works. You have to experience what it's like to fail and then to overcome and then fail again and then think that you finally fixed yourself and then fail again. And then over this process of acclimation, develop a confidence that is brought from humility. This is what I learned from walking for 15 miles. While the graduation from TPS was much different than the graduation from college or my commissioning, in the sense that it was less of a big emotional moment and more of a kind of a weight off of my back. It was pretty bittersweet for me. I'm actually beginning to get pretty sad about the fact that this school is coming to an end sooner than later, because for the longest time this was it. And I don't know where I'm going from here. I just know that I wanted to find more in myself. I would say that two of the biggest takeaways from TPS were humility and a better understanding of the importance of selflessness. Selflessness is a habit. You train yourself to continually put others before yourself in comfort, in service. There's a scripture that says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves." This is what we were really beat over the head with, for a lack of better phrasing, at TPS. you really see it come into play when you're surrounded by a bunch of very talented leaders who are competing to be the most selfless. It's really eye-opening.
I'd be lost without you.
So TBS is now over. It's crazy to say. There was a time when TBS was just that mysterious school that nobody actually knew anything about out in the ether that I might get to on the off chance that I graduate OCS. So to be done with it is pretty wild. For now, I want to wrap up with some closing thoughts on TBS. One of the mantras that we were told by our training staff, which were incredible, was, "This is the last time that it's going to be about you." And while I get what they mean by that, I actually found it interesting because TBS is where I learned that it wasn't about me. TBS is really where I learned that the only way you succeed is by making it about others. And the fastest way to ensure your own demise is by making it about you. As I said earlier, selflessness is a habit. Servanthood is a habit. The less you think about yourself and the more hours you spend sacrificing your own time and your own comfort and your own energy for others, the better of a leader you are. That math is pretty simple, and I don't think it's ever changed. I want to go ahead and thank the people in my platoon who I had the pleasure of working with over the last 7 months. You are all incredible, and I'm proud to say that I know you and that I've learned something from each of you. I think one final lesson that I might use to wrap all this up is that you really do have to trust the process. One thing I've learned is that each school in the Marine Corps that I've been through has achieved exactly what it was meant to and prepared me for the next stage. So, the more you sacrifice for others, the better. The more you sacrifice for others, the more rewarding it is in all truth. What's going on, JJ? I'm sure this seems like forever ago. That's usually how this sort of thing works. I wanted to record this message to just provide some comparison between who I was and the space I was in at the beginning of this journey and who I was well into it. Really, all I am thinking about at this point is improvement is virtually guaranteed if you decide to face the most difficult thing that you can imagine. And that if you decide you're going to take what's valuable from any situation, no matter how grueling, no matter how boring, you will become wiser and you will become better. I look at the pictures hanging on my dad's wall of my dad in his dress blues and my cousin in his dress blues and my brother in his dress blues. That's going to be such an honor to be a part of this tradition. What more can you ask for? Leadership is an interesting topic. You go through the schoolhouse thinking that it's this one thing, and then in practical application, as happens so often in life, it's something else. The military schoolhouse does a lot to prepare you for the military, but it doesn't fundamentally change who you are. I think to do that requires a lot more work. It does reveal many things about you to yourself. It reveals your inadequacies, reveals your strengths, and more than anything reveals the importance of figuring out how to be you to the best effect that you possibly can in order to be a positive influence on the lives of those that you're leading. Leadership is not a trait,
It is a privilege. It is a position that you can be put in and just as easily taken out of. And it's something that should be treated with the utmost reverence, because the difference between a leader who cares and a leader who wants to be there and a leader who is just going through the motions can make the most profound difference in the lives of others. In order to be a person worthy of emulation, you have to have your life in order. Have I grown in confidence? Absolutely. But that has come with an equal increase in awareness of my own faults as a person, which is a good thing. One could argue that the path of self-improvement is marked by greater and greater awareness of your own faults. Self-improvement is also a path of continual humbling, in which you realize further and further with each day how little you know, how much room there is left to grow, how unspecial you are, by which I mean you're not entitled to anything that anybody else is not. The world is yours for the taking, but you have to put in the work to do it. There's something that an officer once referred to as the good dude rule. This refers to the very simple principle that you should treat others the way you want to be treated. You can either make a positive or a negative impact. If you're not a good person, if you do not put others above yourself, people are not going to want to be around you. That's not sustainable in the long run. I want to read a quote. I had already noticed a subtle change in worldview. My tolerance for abstract theory and academic posturing had evaporated. From that afternoon on, I accepted the rules and lived by them. It was about cool under pressure. It was about detachment. We had to retain our ability to think when the world was crumbling around us, not for ourselves, but for our Marines. If you can figure out how to leave enough of a mark on that person's life that they would have been worse off for not having met you, that is leadership. Now, it's not all of leadership, but at a minimum, I believe that that is at the heart of what these schools instilled. You'll notice at the start of this series, when we went into this, it's very much coming from the perspective of, I want to improve myself. I want to do something that's going to make me grow, that's going to make me better. And while none of those things have gone away, the added element of others, the added element of servanthood is something so invaluable. The future disappeared, and my selfish motives went with it. I existed only in the present. The one thing keeping me going was being part of a group, knowing each mistake made my comrades a little weaker. You can improve yourself all you want, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you alienate those around you. You do what you can to become better for those around you, to lift up those around you. How do you do that? You don't do it by being the best who ever lived. You do it in a moment, in a split second, in an instant, in a single interaction. You can do that. Just be there for others. Just show up. There's so many opportunities, so many avenues by which to improve yourself. And not all of them look like the military. That is one stepping stone by which I was able to gain these insights that I stand here today sharing with you. Write down your deficiencies. Write down your plan to address them. Write down your goals. Learn to be a blessing to others by virtue of the standard of excellence that you hold yourself to. The unbelievable caliber of people that this path has exposed me to, put me into contact with, I could never describe. And to the extent possible, I want to thank all of you. If you see this, you know who you are. I took 65 men to war and brought 65 home. I gave them everything I had. Together, we had passed the test. Fear didn't beat us. We fought for each other. I am proud. Whenever that day comes, I want to be able to say that I am proud. 3 years ago, I sat before you, anxiously looking forward to a new adventure. Today I stand before you, unsure of what lies ahead of me, but with a full heart. That being said, I'm going to keep on living in the present.
Understand, the clock is always ticking.
I know not where this journey is going to go, but I know that I'm very grateful to have been put in this position. So many people spend their lives looking for an adventure or looking for a fight. And I have that. And I'm so blessed to have that. And I remind myself of that. You know, I was blessed enough to grow up relatively comfortably and reach a point where I could choose the struggle that I wanted to characterize my life. I put myself here for the challenge, for the difficulty, for the trials, for the failures. It's a tremendous opportunity, an opportunity to better myself. And I really do hope that this series has been beneficial to at least one person watching. I don't really know where we go from here, but I know wherever it is, there will be plenty of potential to learn. I had a thought yesterday. You sacrifice everything you possibly can for those around you. And if they don't appreciate it, at least you have the peace of knowing that you sacrificed everything for those around you. Thank you guys for following me. See you in the next one.
Take action.
Thanks for watching.
Take action. The clock is always ticking. Take action.
Why am I doing this? Well, there's something I wrote in the essay portion of my Marine Corps application. I understand that I could be more than I am. That was the first sentence. It's not a cliche. It's not something that I just wrote because I thought that the application reviewer would like to hear it. It's something that I deeply believe.